Angela Merkel has been defending her approach towards Russia during her 16 years as German Chancellor.
Merkel, who dealt with President Vladimir Putin throughout her leadership, has rejected criticism that she engaged in appeasement, which ultimately enabled the invasion of Ukraine.
What I ask myself, of course, is what might I have missed? What could have been done to prevent such a tragedy? I think the situation is already a great tragedy. Could this have been prevented? And that's why, of course, I keep asking myself these questions. This is a brutal attack, disregarding international law, for which there is no excuse. What happened, in my view, is not only unacceptable, but just a big mistake on Russia's part. And diplomacy was not wrong if it doesn't succeed. I don't see that I should say now it was wrong, and I won't apologise.
Well, Matt Qvortrup is Professor of Political Science at Coventry University here in the UK and author of Angela Merkel, Europe's Most Influential Leader. I asked for his assessment of Angela Merkel's strategy towards Russia.
I think there are sort of two things about it. I think we shouldn't forget that she was the one who got Russia kicked out of the G8, as it was then, and became the G7 again. And she was the one who negotiated a ceasefire after the Crimea invasion in 2014. So she did do her job, I suppose, better than, for example, the British, who didn't even negotiate or didn't take part in those negotiations. So she certainly was able to sort of stem the tide of Vladimir Putin. But she should probably have been had a little bit more foresight in her dealings with that. One of the things that she did was she had the so-called Energiewende, which was the energy turn, when they decided to phase out all nuclear energy, all nuclear power in Germany. And as a result of that, they needed to get energy from somewhere else, which then became the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which she, of course, was in coalition with the Social Democrats. The Social Democrats in Germany are probably the greatest sinners, because they always had people who at least empathized with Vladimir Putin. The Germans call it Putin-Versteher, so that Putin empathizes. And they've certainly had many of those. And she was in coalition with those. She was happy to go along with that. And because she decided to phase out all nuclear power, Russia became almost the monopolist of providing energy to Germany. And she should have regrets about that. She took that decision. Interestingly, she is a nuclear physicist. She should have known that nuclear power is not that dangerous. But sometimes when you're sort of in the midst of battle, it's difficult to see far ahead. Angela Merkel has always taken the view that it's Germany first. In that sense, she's a bit of a Trumpian who talked about America first. And I think she ought to have regrets about the energy policy. But she can hold her head up high when it comes to trying to deal with Russia after the Crimea invasion.
In your book, you've called Angela Merkel Europe's most influential leader. But is there a danger that too much influence is ascribed to her? I mean, in her recent interview, she said the West, more broadly, didn't manage to create a security architecture that could have prevented the war in Ukraine. This was beyond the powers of one woman, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh, definitely, yes. But the most influential doesn't mean that she's the only one, of course. And European politics is a cacophony of different voices. Germany is, because of its sheer size, the most important power in Europe, and whoever is Chancellor of Germany is by definition the most important politician in Europe. At the moment, even if he's not often seen, Olaf Scholz is the most important leader in Europe, or certainly the German government collectively is the most important government in Europe. It is not France, it is not Italy, and it's certainly not the United States.